low in the human scale, whose minds are carried away by illusion, and who partake of the nature of demons, do not seek refuge in me. Shri Krishna expresses his anger in this verse. God must have so much pain, and from this pain, this anger has become manifest. He has used so many strong and severe words in one line. How much must the Supreme Soul's heart be burning? People have got the meaning of this verse upside down and interpret it as meaning that God is such that he calls one who doesn't seek refuge in him evildoers, low in the human scale, and foolish. No. God is saying that when people are like this, only when people are like this, then they don't seek refuge in him. Shri Krishna is not trying to say that those who don't seek refuge in him are like this. Shri Krishna is saying that when people are like this, then they don't seek refuge in him. And there is a very large difference between the two. The difference is this, is like when one says that a child is naughty and therefore he's not looking after his father, and when the father says that the child is not looking after him and therefore the child is naughty. It is because the child is naughty that he is not looking after his father. There is a difference between the two. Therefore Shri Krishna says that those people who are wrong, who are evildoers, who are foolish, and those who are low in the human scale, these people do not go to his refuge and do not worship him. The reason for this is that they are not moving towards God. Who do you worship? You worship one who you love. Therefore, if one does not love God, then how can they worship God? Worship is not just love, but doing work for one who the worshipper loves. Therefore, first of all, the people described in this verse do not love God, and God finds out about this. First of all, Shri Krishna says that those whose minds are carried away by illusion do not seek refuge in him. These are people whose knowledge has been defeated by Maya. These people partake of the nature of demons. The word mur is used in this verse. Right, the last word in the first line, mura, it means foolish, and it's a very important word. There are two types of human beings: Medavi, understanding, and mura, foolish. Medavi, understanding, and mura, foolish. People can only be of these two types. Mur, foolish, does not mean murk, which means stupid. There's a difference between being mur, foolish, and being murk, which is stupid. The difference between people who are buddhiman, intelligent or understanding, and mur is not one of quality, but one of quantity. If someone is not mur today, then they can become megami. If someone is mur today, then they can become megami, intelligent or understanding tomorrow. If someone is mur, foolish today, then they can become a pandit, one who has gained the wisdom of the soul tomorrow, because in mur, foolishness, there is less panditya, knowledge of the soul, and less medavi, understanding. Therefore mur is different, and mur, foolishness is different, and murk, stupidity, is different. Who can one call murk, stupid? Anyone know? Only one who knows nothing and who does not understand anything. Mur, foolish, is a slightly different thing. The difference between people who are buddhiman, intelligent or understanding, and mur, foolish, is not one of quality but one of quantity. A person who is murk, stupid, is someone who has less intelligence, and a person with more intelligence is called buddhiman, intelligent or understanding. But mur, foolish, means deluded. Therefore, the people who Shri Krishna describes in this verse as having their minds carried away by Maya are mur, those whose knowledge has been defeated by Maya, or those who partake of the nature of demons. Mur, foolish people, are those people who are doing the wrong thing and know that they are doing the wrong thing, yet they are still doing it. There is a difference between being buddhiman, intelligent or understanding, and being mur, foolish. If I were to explain it differently, a person who is buddhiman, intelligent, can also be mur, foolish. Even a person who is regarded as having less buddhiman, intelligence, can also be param medavi, having supreme understanding. Kabir did not have any degree certificates from any universities and had not studied at the Tapovan, a Rishi's hermitage. Many people have done a PhD on the subject of Kabir, but Kabir himself had not done a PhD. Yet it so happened that Kabir became greater than those who had did a PhD on Kabir. Kabir did not have a PhD degree. I have seen PhDs being given away through stamping one's fingers. People now sell PhDs. People have done nothing and yet still get PhDs. There is nothing wrong with this, yet Kabir did not have any PhDs and he attained the supreme wisdom. Can you call Kabir Buddhiman, intelligent? Did Kabir study many scriptures? No, he did not, and yet Kabir became a person who had supreme wisdom and a person who had Medhavi, understanding. Dadu, Mira, one sitting at the back as well, Narsi and Akko did not go to any university, and we do not even know whether they had even studied anything. Of course, Mira has, but they were all Medhavi, understanding. This is because they left Mura, foolishness. On the other hand, Ravan was so Buddhiman, intelligent, that he gave sounds to the Vedas. Ravan gave sounds to the Vedas. He had unique lordship over the language. Ravan has written prayers such as the Shirtando Stotra. When you hear why knowledgeable Brahmins chanting his prayers, then you'll be amazed by how knowledgeable he was. Ravan had great play with words and lordship over rhythm. He was very knowledgeable. How Buddhiman, intelligent must Ravan have been to give sounds to the Vedas where confusion was being created? Yet Ravan was Mur, foolish. What I mean to say is that there is a difference between Buddhiman, intelligence, and Mur, foolishness. Mur, foolishness, is different, and Murk, stupidity, is different. Who is Mur? Anyone have a... No? Foolish. Who is foolish? You know? I'll give you an example of Kalidas. Before Kalidas attained wisdom, he was sent to chop wood and was sitting on a tree branch, cutting the exact branch that he was sitting on. A person was passing below and shouted at him, "What are you doing?" Kalidas said, "I'm just cutting the tree branch." The person told him that he would fall off. Kalidas asked the person, "How could he fall off?" This is Mur, foolishness. The reason for this is that a person who is Mur, foolish, performs activities that cause him to suffer a loss, and the closer he gets to suffering a loss, and the closer he goes to his wreckage, the more he considers himself successful. The more that this tree branch was being cut, then the more Kalidas was thinking that he was getting successful. The closer he was getting to what he regarded as success, then the closer he was getting to falling off the tree and meeting his end. This is what more foolishness is: seeing success in failure, seeing gain in loss, seeing right in wrong, and seeing wrong in right. All these are the characteristics of Mura, foolishness. This is a person always deluded and drowned in Maya. There is a very nice saying in the West that a mother may work hard for 25 years to make her son intelligent, but that son may go in front of a young girl and make himself look foolish in 2 minutes. This poor mother worked 25 years so her son can become good, well-behaved, understanding, and happy in life. All this intelligence can go away if that son goes in front of a girl and makes himself foolish in 2 minutes. This is because the son has now become deluded. When a person becomes deluded, then his intelligence does not work. Mira, foolishness, is when the power of intelligence is drowned in Maya, illusion. Murta, foolishness, has no relationship with words of wisdom. When one is healed from Murta, stupidity, then Panditya, having wisdom of the soul, comes. But when one is healed from Murta, foolishness, then Param Gnan, ultimate wisdom, comes. There is another difference between Murta, foolishness, and Murta, stupidity. When everything has been ruined, then a person who is Mur holds other people responsible for it. This is Murta, foolishness. If something wrong happens, then a person who is Mur, foolish, will say that the other person did it. This means that if the other person keeps doing something wrong, then there is no possibility of the other person doing something right. If only the other person keeps doing the wrong things, and if the other person keeps ruining things for one, then how can one ever become improved and good? On the other hand, a person who is knowledgeable considers the responsibility her own, and when something wrong happens and there is a mistake, then she improves it. This person does not have to suffer the same sorrow again and does not fall into the same hole again. If I have gone down one road and I have stepped on thorns, then rather than thinking about who has put the thorns there, and why they put the thorns there, why don't I just stop walking down that road? If I did so, then I would never step on the thorns again. This is a characteristic of wisdom. A karma yogi is slightly different and tries to clear away those thorns, but he spends time on this, and this time is wasted. This is possible, and this is a completely different perspective depending on the type of interest one has in life. Right now, we're understanding the difference between murta, foolishness, and gnan, wisdom. A person who is wise always considers himself responsible when things go wrong. Human beings can be broadly split up into two types, and we will look at it according to how God has described them in this verse. First, there are the people that face God, perform bhakti devotion of God, and who do puja of God, all of whom Shri Krishna describes as Medhavi, understanding. Please do not misunderstand me or limit my statements. Puja, worship of God, does not mean performing worship, because people often think that doing puja means getting up early in the morning, gathering rice, flowers, red turmeric powder, and doing arti. By doing all this, one does not automatically become Medhavi, understanding. Even doing after all of this, a person can still be more foolish. You should do all of this, and I'm not denying it, but just by doing all of this, one does not automatically become Medhavi, understanding. Second are those people, the majority of human beings, who do not face God, and Shri Krishna says that these people are moor, foolish. Who is your face turned towards? If your face is turned towards the Supreme Soul, then God will say that you are Medhavi, understanding. But if one's face is turned away from God, then God says that such a person is moor, foolish. This is because if one is not facing God, then their conflict with themselves begins. Wherever there are conflicts in one's life, then the root cause is one, and that is that person has become separated from God, and that person is faced away from the Supreme Soul. Then no matter how much comes into one's life, there will be no satisfaction and no bliss. Guruji used to give an example, and I remember this after a long time. A mother and a son were going to a fair. Because they were in the fair, there are many different types of rides and shops. For example, chocolate shops, Winter Wonderland, let's say, sweet shops, toy shops, and the son stuck his hand out at every shop they were passing, telling his mother that he wanted those things from those shops. His mother would pull out his hand so that he would keep walking forwards. While the mother and the child were walking the fair, a man was walking behind them. The man found this behavior of the mother and the son strange, that as they were walking past the shops, the son would see things that he liked, and he would ask his mother to buy those things, and yet the mother was not getting those things for the son. The man thought that she was wearing expensive clothes, and therefore must be from a good or wealthy house, and therefore how could this woman not be buying these things for her son? The man also thought that if this woman did not buy these things for her son, then why she had brought her son to this fair? The man was interested in finding out the answers to these questions. The mother told her son, I'll get you everything, but first let us go and worship God at the temple. In old times, whenever there was a fair, then it was always held near a temple in India. The mother said this and took her son towards the temple. Because there was a temple, it was natural that there are much more crowds and a bigger rush there. In this crowd, the mother and the son got separated. The son came into the hands of the man who was following behind them. The mother got lost somewhere in the crowd, and the son began crying, saying, "Where's my mother? Where's my mother?" The man was very nice and explained to the child, "Be calm, I'll take you to your mother." The child said, "No, first show me where my mother is." How can one keep a crying child calm? The man remembered that this child wanted sweets and told the child he'll go and get him some sweets. The child said, "No, where's my mother?" The man said that he'll get the child some toys because the child wanted toys. The child says, "No, take me to my mother." The man told the child that he would take him to his mother and asked the child to please stop crying, because he would announce on his microphone that the child is lost, and the child's mother would come and collect the child straight away. The man also said that he would take the child to sit on a ride that he wanted to sit. The child said, "No, where is my mother?" Now look at this child. This child wanted sweets, wanted toys, and wanted to go on the rides, but only if the child was with its mother. If the mother was not there, then there would be no fun in eating the sweet, no fun in playing with the toys, and no fun on going on the rides. There would be no happiness for the child without its mother. Once the mother went away, then all the interests, All the pleasures and all the attractions went away. This child was very lucky that he realized that he had been separated from his mother. This fear is the fear of the material world. We are all children, and we are separated from the Supreme Soul in the form of our mother. We are sad and we feel that something is missing, but we do not know what is missing. There is something missing. We feel an emptiness in the material world. We keep searching on how to fill this emptiness. Fill this emptiness. Somebody comes to us and tells us to earn money, because when we have wealth, then there will be fun in life. We therefore start running after money. We work hard for 25 years or 30 years, earn money, and collect piles of money, and yet this emptiness still remains. Then someone comes to us and tell us that we collect a lot of money, then nothing happens, and that we used to use it a little. We should use it a little. The person tells us to donate some money. We even do that. We earn some money, we spend some money, and we even give some money as a donation. It feels good, but the emptiness still remains there. Then a third person comes and tells us that just spending the money will not do, and that we should accumulate some power. We should therefore run after power, become the president of our community or become a minister. The power also comes, and yet this emptiness still remains. The person cannot understand throughout his whole life what is missing from his life. He has money, power, possessions, fame, and everything else. Only God has not come. Closeness to God has not come, and while this child has not found his mother, then Vrutta gatam stasya narasya jivitam. He lives his life in vain. He has wasted his life. In the fear of life, the child, us, enjoys the sweets even more when his mother, the Supreme Soul, is there, and he is sitting in the mother's lap eating the sweets. The child enjoys playing with his toys even more when the child is sitting in his mother's lap. And even if the child's mother does not sit on the rides with the child, if the mother is standing at the bottom while the child is on the ride, the child can say to his mother, "Mother, I'm coming down. Mother, I'm going up." There is so much more fun in the child in this, because the child has the assurance that his mother is standing down there and watching him. Wealth is a very good thing. Our rishis do not say that wealth is a bad thing. Who's heard of Shri Suktam? It's an invocation to Goddess Lakshmi, and if you chant it, innumerable wealth will come into your life. Shri Suktam is from the Veda. It's been written about the whole efforts in attaining wealth. We want wealth, and why should we not want it? Murk, stupid, are those people who oppose wealth, because even they cannot go without wealth. Our rishis say that we need wealth. In the Rudra Asha Adhyay, there is a whole process saying Chamai, 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 where they say Asma Chamai, Mukta Chamai, Lohan Chamai, Shishantamai, Tapus Chamai. So many things. How many wishes do they have? So many things have been asked for here. Think about it for a second, that if God appeared in front of you right now and told you that he could give you anything you ask for, then what would you ask for? How much would you ask for? You would get confused. You would not even be able to ask. If God stood in front of us and told us, ask what we want, then we would scream for help, because we would not even have the faith that God came in front of us. We first ask, are you really God? We would ask for his identity card. People do not have this faith even if God proves his identity and does everything to show us that he is God. Then if God asks us what we would like, then what would we ask for? It is worth doing one's homework for this, you know. Think about it. If God woke you up from your sleep at midnight and told you to ask for a boon, then what would you ask for? Make a list for it. I guarantee you, you will not be able to come up with more than 25 things. The maximum number of things you'll be able to come up is 25, and that is only if you write things separately. We do not even know what to ask for. What would we ask for? If you see a beggar at the steps of the Babulnath temple in India, and you go and ask the beggar what the beggar wants, then what would the beggar ask for? She will ask for a new sari, 100 rupees. 100 rupees is a lot to her, because our wishes depend on our limitations. We can only ask within our limitations, and we cannot ask anything more than that. The rishis, on the other hand, knew how to ask. What did they ask for? They made a list of 800 things. Chamai, 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 etc. And what did they write at the end of each mantra? Yagna na kalpanam mam. Yagna na kalpanam mam. I want all of these things in the spirit of yagna. Remember the whole concept of yagna? Yagna is huge concept. It means split into three things: Dev Puja, worship of God; Sangati Karnam, bringing people together for a noble purpose like we're doing now; and Dan, donations. Dev Puja, worship of God; Sangati Karnam, bringing people together for a noble purpose; and Dan, donations. That's yagna. We want all of these things in the spirit of yagna. They wanted these things for their yagna. They even knew how to ask. If God is there, then there is a bliss from wealth. God has it, and there's a bliss in power. And if God has it, then there is bliss in fame. God has wealth, God has power, God has fame, and there's bliss in it. All of this should be with God. The human being that gets separated from God and runs towards other human beings will be in conflict with themselves, and they'll feel this emptiness and sadness. Such people will never be happy. Shri Krishna, if you look at this word, he used prabhyantya, which is the first word in the second line. What is this prabhyantya? What is bhajan? Who knows what the meaning of bhajan is? Was it, you saw the mehfilas last week? Does this mean going to the temple? No. Bhajan is nothing else but creating a bridge between God and us. This is what bhajan is. This is because there is a wide gap and we do not even know it. God recognizes us, but do we recognize God? No, we don't. We have to create this bridge between God and us. There's only one thing needed to create this bridge between God and us. We must consider God's power as our power. Only then can this bridge be created. This is when we tell God that our power is His power and God is giving it to us. Otherwise, while a human being is separated from the Supreme Soul, then the root of this is suicide. It is a death wish. A human being cannot live whilst being far away from God. A Medhavi, intelligent human being is such that he uses the life given to him by the Supreme Soul to attain the state of the Supreme Soul and to attain God. God has given us lives so that we can come closer to Him. Guruji often gives a simple example. Imagine that every morning the postman comes to you and gives you £50 in your hands, saying that here is £50 in the money order. We ask the postman where the money has come from, and the postman says that it's not written where the money has come from, but the money is fast, and the postman asks us to sign it. Every morning, this money order of £50 come to us. We take it on the first day, the second day, and on the third day. But on the fourth day, the question comes to us, who is sending us this £50 money order every day? We feel like investigating where it came from and what it is. If someone is sending us the £50 every day, then we wish to investigate it, then what about him who keeps giving these things to us every day? Do we not wish to search for him and investigate this? Do you not wish to investigate who is running our lives? Do you not wish to find out who is giving us new breaths every day and every moment? We are tired after a busy day and go to sleep at night, and then when Achyutam Keshavam happens and we pass away, then who will go to ask and who will go to complain to? Who is it that opens our eyes at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. in the morning? Who is it that makes a beautiful sunrise for us every morning? Who is it that's making the whole wind move for us? Who is it that's making the rivers flows? Who is this? We should want to search for him. And a person who has attained so much and yet still does not go in search of God, then Shri Krishna uses strong and harsh words for such a person. Then how is this Shri Krishna's fault? If this person is not more foolish, then what is he? If there is a small toddler, then the toddler would not know. If a toddler sees a toy lined up in the corner of a room, then he just goes and plays with it. He does not think about who gave him the toy, and he just begins playing with the toy. This is it. In the same way, if we are like this toddler, and then we don't think about who has made our lives so beautiful, about who has given us this intelligence, who has given us this power, and about who has given us this wealth, then we're behaving just like toddlers. We are not toddlers. If you take a toddler aged 6 months, 8 months or a year, put it to sleep and put a rattle in its hands, then the toddler will keep shaking the rattle, making noise with it and licking it. The toddler does not see who the toy belongs to, who bought the toy for it, or anything else. In the same way, if we get 1 or 2 factories and start fiddling with it or licking with it, what's the difference between you and the toddler? You should try and search for God. When the child gets a little understanding, then the child asks, Daddy, who brought me this toy? When this child sees a new item in the house, then he will immediately goes and asks where it came from. Where is this 3-year-old child and where are we? Did we not even ask who got this for us and where it came from? One's knowledge should not be carried away by Maya. If someone's knowledge has been carried away from Maya, then this means that even a 3-year-old child has the power when it sees a new toy to ask who got it for him and where it came from. But does a man aged 30 not have this power? He does, but this power of his has been defeated by Maya. This person just considers that he is very good and that's why he's got it. If he thinks that he's got it because he's good, then what is the use of searching for the person who gave it to him? This is what happens when one's knowledge is carried away by Maya. Such a person is more foolish and naradam, low in the human scale. This is because the person does not even have gratitude for God who gave him all of these things. What is the biggest sin one can do in their lives? Anyone know? If one has studied the scriptures, then you understand the biggest sin of all is krutagnata. Krutagnata. Anyone know what this is? This is forgetting the good deeds of and having enmity towards a person who has done us service or the person who has done us good. There is no sin like this. There is no repentance or reparation possible for there is repentance or reparation possible for all other things, but there is no repentance or reparation possible for krutagnata. If a person has done krutagnata towards another person, then there is no repentance or reparation for this. Then what about the person who has done krutagnata towards God? What if someone forgets the good deeds and favors that God has done him? Then such a person becomes low on a human scale. That is why Shri Krishna is using such strong and harsh words in this verse. Shri Krishna also says that the evildoers do not seek refuge in him. This is because a person whose knowledge has been carried away by Maya considers himself as a doer, and therefore any karmas he performs will be evil. Any actions he performs will be evil. He'll be performing karmas with the wrong intentions and with ignorance, and all karmas performed in this way are evil karmas. Even if he is doing apparently good things, he is still evil. On the other hand, a gnani, wise person's actions may be questioned by the world, but if the person is gnani, wise, and medhavi, understanding, then God will say that whatever that person is doing is right. Shri Krishna has told Arjun the reason why this is so. Arjun's perspective is that if he has to kill his own people, then he will incur sin, whereas God is telling him to kill them and that he will not incur sin. Nevam papya vyapasi. Shri Krishna is taking Arjun on a new level and a new place, which is a place of medhavi, understanding, and a place of understanding life better. God explained who evildoers are, but there must be good people as well. What are these people like, and what types of good people are there? Shri Krishna will explain this in what good people are like in the next verse. And we will cover this in the next class. Next class will focus on